You've been quite vocal about your thoughts on the reopening of the county and local businesses. San Diego County was close to slipping into the most restrictive purple tier. Can you give us your thoughts on how local businesses are faring right now under this reopening plan and what you would specifically like to see?
Well, first of all, we were going towards purple, but it really wasn't the fault of the businesses. It was outbreaks that we had at San Diego State. So students doing what students do, and we were able to quell that and it was a nail biter going through that instance. So it's, not the businesses that caused us to get towards the purple. But what I would like to see is all businesses have the same opportunities to open safely under the health guidelines. I mean, we've got, it's a lot of frustration out there. Businesses, people say, well, why is SeaWorld and Lego, SeaWorld open and the zoo and the safari park, but not Legoland? Why is this restaurant open, this restaurant closed, or the barber shops or the nail salons? There's a lot of frustration out there, and the goalposts keep changing and moving. The governor keeps, changing, the rules. Before we had to get off the watch list, and then a week later we got this color tier system. So I'm glad that we stayed in the red. I mean, and that's a tribute to our county health officers and the people doing their jobs. But I'm glad that happened, but there's still work to be done. The case rate adjustment factor that the state has put in there, where basically they change our numbers. Half the counties get cases added to them, and the other half of the counties get cases taken away, and that affects your numbers and what color potentially you could be in.
It's been pretty tough. Obviously, a lot of those businesses struggling, and another closure or more restrictions really, in many ways, could end a lot of those businesses that we have here in San Diego County. And you have said, obviously, that's a bigger issue. You obviously want them all to kind of open up at the same time, but do you have a plan for them? Like, do you want local government to have control over that, or the state?
Well, what I proposed at the Board of Supervisors meeting to exclude bars. Bars, I think, was kind of silly for us to open up in the first place, but the state allowed it, so we did. But I would like to see us, like I said, have all the businesses have the same opportunities. There's still, I would like to see the motion actually that I made was that we enforce all the health and safety guidelines, that we keep the enforcement of that and let the state enforce who's open and who's closed. Because it keeps changing and it's very frustrating. So, life is about managing risk. And that's, I was an airline pilot for 33 years. That's all I did was manage risk, dealing with weather and air traffic control and, systems on the airplane and passengers and flight attendants. I managed risk. And that's the same thing we have to do with the coronavirus. And so, do we have the tools in place to manage risk? And I say, yes, we do. We've got the hospital capacity. We have the tests. We have the tracing. We know who's the most vulnerable. We know that within 24 hours, if somebody tests positive, we go out and reach out to them. We find out who they've had contact with, and we try to mitigate and protect them. Well, the vast majority of people getting the virus now are aged 20 to 35. And so they are the least, they have the least symptoms, the least about detrimental effect that, when they do get the virus. So I think we have the tools in place to mitigate and manage the risk. I just want to see all businesses have the same opportunities to operate safely, because I know 99% of them want to do that.
Amid this pandemic, let's switch gears a little bit. You did mention
Sure.
age ranges, and very quickly, schools are doing remote learning right now. Not many are holding in-person classes. What is your take on that?
Well, I think parents should have a choice. And they know the risks. And children, under age 20, even if they get it, they have very, few symptoms. But I think parents should have allowed the choice of either doing in-school learning or doing distance learning, or a hybrid of that. So give the parents and the kids a choice. If parents don't want to send their kids, let them do the distance learning. My daughter is actually a teacher in a Valley Center school in Lilac, and she's doing the distance learning teaching with her class. And so there's schools are moving into different areas. I know Encinitas, there's a lot of parents that want to get their kids back into classes. And I think that's happening throughout the county. And it's been kind of a shift because, in April and May time frame, everybody says, oh, we have to do distance learning. And it was about a 60-40 split between the parents. Now that's flipped. More parents now want in-school learning, and primarily so they can get back to their lives, get back to work. And then they know the risks. Don't let the kids come in contact with the grandparents, or do isolation or something like that. So I think we have the tools to mitigate the school risks as well.
Well, as you said, a lot of risk management involved in this pandemic. Of course, a lot of frustration as well. We know that you have your hands full. Thank you so much for joining us today, Supervisor Desmond.
You're welcome. Thank you.